Oh my gosh, okay. Hello guys, hello. I'm gonna be doing my February reading wrap up plus March plus my March TBR, and I'm so excited. This month, you guys, I had a really good reading month. I read more books this month than I did last year, so this is probably insanity for like, it's just crazy. But are you ready? I read 9 books. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. That is crazy. I like literally cannot wrap my head around that. I have a lot to talk about. I only took notes on 2 books. I'm going to try to not ramble as much. Let's get into it with the books that I did start the month off, because I'm gonna be doing this like in chronological order. The first book I read this month was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I don't know if it's Moss or Mass, so I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce it. Yes, this was the first book that I started the month with, and oh my goodness, she was everything. I rated her 5 stars. I don't know if I like this one or A Court of Mist and Fury. Yes, I don't know if I like that one better or this one, because they both were just so good. But I did take notes. So like I said, I rated it 5 stars. This one was very much more political compared to like the other books in the series, because this one was about the war. Also, spoilers for this video. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But this one was about like the King of Hybern and the war that took place. It had a lot to do with finding allies, seeing who was your enemy. I honestly really like the politics in this world. Like, I thought I would be bored because I don't really like seriousness sometimes, but the politics are really good. Like, I was like, ooh, like who do we have as like an ally? So that part of the book was good. My favorite scene was where, because the whole like beginning of the book, they're setting up to have all the courts have like one big group discussion about helping the Night Court in the war with the King of Hybern. And when they all get together and meet up, the tension was thick because Tamlin was there. He is he was going off like in that little discussion. Like, oof, I was Reese, I would have defended my girl. But nonetheless, we're gonna skip past that. Also, like, they kind of had like little like moments where he was redeeming himself. No, me personally, I can never like him. I will never like him. Also, there was a lot of the found family in family bonding with Mor and Ezreal and Cassian. I love found family. That is something I found that I like love, because it's just so cute the way they bond. Like, it's not corny, it's funny. Like Amryn, I've seen a lot of people get upset with the excessive word of mates. Personally, that didn't bother me. Like, I didn't care about the word mate being thrown around, because I feel like it's just an easier word for like husband or like high lord for them, you know? Like, saying mate and stuff, like, maybe it's because I read like Twilight fanfiction in school, like middle school, but it didn't bother me. I was like, okay, mate, yada yada. Also, for the people that are getting mad at the excessive use of mate, that's why you're reading about nodding in Allie Hazelwood's Bride. Like, what's worse? I'm not gonna dive into that. The other one thing that I have to say I didn't like, and it didn't take off any stars, but Reese and Feyre, like, they have like a bond that they can communicate with. And at first it was all like, okay, you know, but then like that to me became super excessive. And then I was like, okay, this is just texting. Like, this is them on FaceTime, this is them texting, voice memoing, because not only would they talk, but then they could like send mental images of things. Like, he was sending a mental image of like them getting it on, but then, or like she sent him a vulgar jester. If you read Agatar, y'all already know vulgar jester. But then she like, I don't know, like, it was just giving text message, because I'm like, okay, guys, like, enough with this mental communication. It was annoying. We need to show respect to Feyre, because she is a curse breaker. I don't know why people are still a little angry or resentful towards her. She literally fought the trials in the first book, became a curse breaker, broke a 50-year-old curse for you guys to be ungrateful. Right. So I gotta take my clip out, because now it's getting serious. But I'm like, guys, come on, like, show some respect on her. I ate this book up. She was so good. She was so good. Also, before I jump into this book, let me just say I am so proud of myself, because I set my TBR list in my February TBR video I did a while back ago. I read every single book on that TBR. I literally completed like a TBR, and that's so exciting. This was on it. It is the Love Con by Ceresia Glass. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I really do hope I am. This was a really cute book. I think I rated it 4 stars. It's about the main character, which is this beautiful lady, Kenya, and she is in a cosplaying competition, like a reality TV show where she can win a lot of money. It starts off at the final round, like the judges are announcing what the final round for the contestants are, and it's down to her and this other guy. So the judges say that the final round is to make a couple's costume. The other guy, I forgot his name, so I'm gonna call him Dan. I think his name is Ben. Okay, we don't really need to know his name, but we'll call him Ben. So Ben is like, oh, couples competition, like to make a couple's costume. That's no problem. I'm gonna have my husband, John, help me out with that. And everyone's like, oh, so sweet. And then it gets to Kenya, who is single. There's this one particular judge who is just like known, it's like the Simon Cowell, like she's just rude to her. She's like, oh, I'm gonna make it with like my partner. And the mean judge is like, oh, you have a partner? You have a partner. And Kenya's like, yeah, I do. His name is Cam. He's my best friend, and like he's my boyfriend, and we're gonna do this competition. That's where the book starts off. So given this context, one, Kenya, the Cam guy that she mentioned, that's her best friend. So it is another best friends to lovers, if that's the trope you like. This one is really cute. I did mention in my TBR that I hope it wasn't like he was in love with her the whole time. It kind of is like that, but not entirely. She likes him too, so I mean, obviously they fall in love. I really like the way Kenya was written. An underlying like conflict within Kenya is that with the mean judge, like just being rude to her and like having to deal with everything she's been dealing with to get to this point. She is a plus size black woman main character. So I like how they talk about her struggles being plus size and not feeling like she's good enough by the society to be with her best friend, which is that guy, who's also supposed to look like Thor. I'm sorry, he's not giving Thor. But that's something she's dealing with, also with all the pressure of the competition and like other contestants and the judges being super mean to her, and her having to like remain this poised and calm woman no matter any pressure she's under, even when she has to like, I don't want to give it up, but like when she's in a time crunch, just having to like remain zoned in, because the judge is like, the Simon Cowell judge, she's like just being rude to Kenya. And so it even talks about the book, like how she doesn't want to portray like the frustrated, aggressive black woman stereotype that the author says. That's just something interesting, and I like that they brought that up. And honestly, throughout the whole book, she never once got mad, because she is like, let's get rid of this stupid stereotype. So I liked how they mentioned that. Cam was on board with like fake dating Kenya, so that was an A+. I don't know, like you guys can fake date, but the way they did it, it was just too sexual for reality TV. Like they would be like kissing and making out in front of the camera, and then he'd make like little sexual innuendo. You guys can fake date, but you don't have to do this whole PDA extra nonsense. Like it was a little too much. And he would like be like too grabby, you know, like grabby in the camera. I'm like, guys, you can fake date. You don't have to do all this extra stuff. Like that was just a little like too much for me personally. The standard that they had for fake dating, it was kind of like, it was funny because they would pretend to fake date like even when there was no cameras or anybody around. Like they would still pretend they're fake dating together like in private, and then they would do it in front of their friends. Like they were like really committing to the bit. Compared to like other fake dating trope books I've read, this one was honestly pretty good. I like the way that they handled it in this one. Like it was very natural and made a little bit more sense. I liked how the main character was quirky, but not in like a cringy way. Like she was talking about like her favorite fantasy show, about science fiction. Like she was so cute and like talking about Marvel. Like it was giving quirky and what quirky is supposed to be, you know? She also, like I kind of mentioned with the stereotype that the author was reiterating. Does that make sense? But yeah, with what the author was reiterating, she was standing her ground. Like, I was like, it was so empowering when she would like stand her ground, because it didn't come off bitchy, it didn't come off rude. It was like, this is who I am. Like, guys, the only like criticism besides like the whole extra PDA stuff is more so about the cover than like the actual plot. In the book, she is described to have a short pink bob. That's all she's described to have. But she's described, I don't know why I let it on like she was gonna have like crazy characteristics, but she is described to have like her iconic, I think it uses the word iconic, but iconic short pink bob. Do you see a short pink bob on this book? Beautiful, but no short pink bob. Moving on, A Court of Frost and Starlight. I said I was gonna wait and read this at the beginning of March, but it's like 200 pages, okay? I couldn't wait. So I read this one. Guys, we are so harsh on her for no reason. To me, this book is like, I think it's like a novella in the series. So obviously it's not gonna like have plot driven storyline. Does that make sense? Like, it's not gonna have so much about like politics of the world or the romance. Like, it's mainly just like a little filler book, okay? It has the point of views from all the characters. I think all the characters, or a majority of the characters. It's just a cute read about the winter solstice. When it's like Christmas time and I'm missing ACOTAR, I'm just gonna pick this up. I did rate this 4 stars. I didn't rate it 5 stars just because it is a novella, so I am being hypocritical. And I liked how they were just like festivities in the winter solstice, because my birthday is the same as Farrah's. I was born on the day of the winter solstice, so that was really a cute book. I think the criticism on that book is a little bit too harsh, because it's just supposed to be a little filler book, since the next book in the series is A Court of Silver Flames, and that's like transitioning to Nesta's book. There wasn't really much to hate and much to love. It was a perfect little novella read. I would suggest reading it. Like, obviously you could read it in the way it follows in the series, but if you ever miss the book, just pick it up and read it. Like, this is a good like standalone once you've read all the books prior. Next, this is where I started to get into a reading slump. Surprisingly, Hush Little Baby, which I would rate 5 stars. She was a 5-star read to me personally. Like, it was so good. So it's a thriller. It's about a single pregnant mother. Main character, Jillian, she's pregnant with her ex's baby because they are 2 lesbian women. So Rochelle is the ex, okay? And Jillian is our main character. So Rochelle's egg is in Jillian, so Jillian can carry the baby. Halfway through Jillian's pregnancy, this is like context, so you don't read about this. Like, it's just mentioned at the beginning as like background context. But Jillian gets cheated on 5 months pregnant by Rochelle. So Rochelle already has like their lover, and Jillian lives in this house. She's a nurse. She is by herself pregnant and carrying her ex's baby. Throughout the book, like, she is dealing with like having to be a new single mother and stuff. She has like a group of other pregnant women who are like all like strong survivors of something, I think, because Jillian actually used to be an alcoholic. She has this group that she can just talk with. They meet up weekly, but slowly like things around the house start becoming weird. Like, the windows are open, a knife goes missing, her car keys go missing. So like these things are like happening, and she doesn't know if it's her pregnancy brain or if these things are really happening. So throughout the book, it becomes more and more intense until like, this is a book I'm not gonna spoil because it was just so damn good. The beginning of the book does open up like she's in a room, she's strapped down to a bed. That's how the book opens up, and then that's when you start reading about what happened a month leading up to that incident. The whole time throughout the book with these strange occurrences happening, you're like, ooh, like, is it this person? Is it this person? Like, you have all these suspects lined up, and it's just so insane. I was yelling at this book. Now, the reason I didn't like finish it, because y'all, so I started this book right after I finished A Court of Frost and Starlight, and then the next couple days I just didn't read it. Like, I was on my phone, I had orientation for a new job, so I just didn't pick the book up. I loved it, so I didn't think I would love it, but I don't know how else to reiterate to you guys. I read it in one day. It was so good. The final reveal, like the last act, you're just like Like, I'm not even kidding. I was on the edge of my seat. Obviously, you find out why these things are happening to her. It's just like it's a WTF moment. If you are a thriller reader, dude, please check this out and like message me or DM me on Instagram because I do have a book talk. But message me or something because this book, dude, it's so good. I searched it up on TikTok to see if anybody was reading it and nobody was. I was like, dude, come on. But if you're looking for like a thriller, honestly, 5 stars. I'm gonna recommend her forever. My British book, Perfect Little Children. The next couple books I'm gonna go over, I did film a reading vlog for them. So if you're interested in checking out that reading vlog, it is just this previous video before this one. So this premise is about this lady, her name is Beth. She's dropping her son off at football practice. But where football practice is like taking place is where her ex-friend Flora used to live. So out of pure curiosity, because their friendship ended like abruptly, like it was just like the way their friendship ended was so fast and weird. So they didn't contact each other after that breakup for 12 years. So since she's dropping her son off at this practice and she happens to be where her ex-friend Flora lives, she's like, okay, like it's been 12 years. I'm just gonna go drive by her house and just, you know, while I'm in the neighborhood. She doesn't intend to like go out the car and say hi just because it's been 12 years since their friendship breakup. She drives up to the house. Since last time she saw her friend 12 years ago, her friend had a 4 and like 7-year-old. So when she pulls up to the house, she notices that the children are still 4 and 7. So that's what the book kicks off with. That is what's written like on the inside sleeve. And you're just like, it starts off like, what? Like the kids are like the same age. So throughout the book, she is like getting lied to. She's getting manipulated. There's so many people in on why the kids that she saw still look the same age as they did 12 years ago. It's mainly her like investigating. But the one thing I didn't like about this book, oh yeah, I rated it 2.5 stars. Starts off good. I love the dynamic that she had with her family. Like her husband was like helping her. Her daughter was like funny and like telling her like, mom, like this is what's going on, like giving her her own theories. And it's funny because that's what me and my mom do when we watch like 60 Minutes. So I'm like, it was funny. The mom, Beth, is trying to figure out what's going on, and she has her family like, they kind of help her at first, but the dad becomes more like, girl, like it's been 12 years, it's none of our business. I didn't like how it seemed too unrealistic with how bold and nosy Beth was. Like she was going to the neighbors' houses and was like, I'm Beth Larson, okay? I know your neighbor, like what's going on? And I'm like, dude, like, I don't know, but wouldn't you want to try to be low key when you're getting information, or else someone's gonna find out you are seeking information and now they have your full government name and they're gonna come and get you? Like, you know what I'm thinking? Like at least go up to the neighbor and have a fake name when you're trying to investigate. And then she was like in the neighbor's house, and then she was going to the kid's school. Like this woman was nosy. Like I was like, at first I was with her, I was like, yes, you get the information. But then she was getting nosy, giving out her government name. I was like, okay, like this is kind of stupid. Like in the sense that she's being too obvious. Like if you're thinking like me, like a true crime, like you're not gonna want to expose yourself. Like you're gonna be a little secret detective. She was not secret. That kind of irritated me throughout the whole book. So I'm like, girl, you are better than me because I couldn't do all that. The last half of the book, you find out why these children look like they're the same age, 12 years younger. And it's just like, it falls flat. It fell flat for me, dude. That's why I rated it 2.5 stars, because the characters didn't make sense. You have like this cat and mouse lead up, and then you find out why the children are the same, and you're like, okay, like I read all this to get that. Other than that, it was kind of like boring. I don't want to be harsh about it, but I saw like on Goodreads that she has like other books, and a lot of people like agree with that. Honestly, I wouldn't like recommend to read it. If you're looking for a thriller, I would go with Hush Little Baby, just because for me, I was expecting one thing with the ending, and then I got the cop-out. I feel like I got the cop-out method of ending. So not to be harsh, but that is how I felt. The next book I read was Check and Mate. I mentioned in my reading vlog that I had a lot to say about her, and I will dive into it. But basically, I'm not really a fan of Ali Hazelwood's books, like I mentioned in that vlog, just because I feel like with the way she sets up some of the tropes, like it's heavy on the miscommunication trope, and I hate that trope so much, especially when it's done with the characters being grown adults. Like, just talk to each other. You guys are like in your 30s, please communicate. I was really hesitant to read this book, but I know it was a very popular read. The main character, I really loved how she was written. She was such a relatable and funny lead. The dynamic was that she was with her mother and she had like 2 younger sisters coming from like a family similarly set up. I was like, okay, this is relatable. Throughout the book, she engages in like a chess tournament, and that's when she meets the main male love character who was like the #1 chess player in the world, Nolan. The love part, that didn't really make sense to me. Also, I rated it 4 stars. The love between the two didn't really make sense to me. It was just like, she goes, she plays chess, she beats him. He falls in love with her because she beat him at chess. She's just like, okay, I'm in it for the money, which good for her to be in it for the money. Romance part, it wasn't really giving romance. It's the same thing that every Ali Hazelwood book does, where the male main character is this big, humongous, giant mass thing of a man, and he's just humongous. Like, there was a part in the book where she was like having coffee with him, and she's like, oh, like Nolan went to go get a coffee mug from the cabinet and his large hands made the mug look comically small. How many times are we gonna do this? How many times? I'm sorry guys, I can't get behind that. Like, every time she's gonna make him huge. Like, it's annoying. Like I said, the romance wasn't romancing because it just felt a little forced. Like, she only likes him because he's big. I didn't really dive in too much with the person, like the personal connection, you know what I'm saying? Also, she had like a best friend that went off to college, and then you just don't hear about the best friend throughout the whole book. But she's actively, Mallory, the main character, is actively like texting her best friend. And then towards the end of the book, the best friend makes an appearance and she's like, oh, why haven't you been texting me, Mallory? But then you would think that Mallory is like, girl, I've been texting you. Mallory says sorry, and then she's like, I have been such a bad friend. Are we reading the same book? Because you did what you put the effort in. Your best friend didn't, and now you're getting the like repercussions. I'm like, that irritated me. Another big irritation I had, I mentioned a lot of things I was irritated in my reading vlog. I hate to keep promoting that video, but I don't want to keep like reiterating my points. Tell me why in the book these two haven't been on one date. All they have been doing is playing chess together. Tell me why they're arguing and he blurts out, I love you. You don't love me. You don't even know me. I was like, bro, like when I read that line, I was like, am I supposed to feel angst? Because how does he love her? But they never like communicated. They've just been playing chess. Also, number 2, this is gonna come off very, very ignorant. Is chess really that popular? Like, I'm being for real, because in the book, she's like, I get stopped at grocery stores. I get stopped on my morning jogs. I'm like, how popular is chess? Like, for me personally, if I were to walk outside or deal with the public, my knowledge of chess wouldn't extend to where I would like stop somebody for an autograph or even know who are famous chess players. Like, I don't know that. Some people might know that. But I was just like, damn, like how poppin' is the chess world? But that was Check and Mate. After I read that book, I picked up Tag You're Dead. I don't know what you want me to say about this book. I'm gonna be honest, I rated it 2 stars. It is basically in the perspective of 3 different characters who are playing this game of tag created by like Loki. He's like a Jake Paul of this universe. They're all playing this game for their own intentions. Game becomes like hacked in the first like 20 pages, but you're following them because one's doing it for fame, one is doing it to avenge the death of his girlfriend who died at the house of the Jake Paul of the people, you know? And then the other perspective is just like a super fan. This one was a fast read just because I just wanted to read other people's perspectives more than I wanted to read others. So it motivated me to keep reading so I can get to their perspectives. It was just so boring. Like, it didn't make sense also. Like, some of the stuff and the way it was written, it just didn't flow for me, and I wasn't like comprehending what was going on. That might have been just my brain short-circuiting, but I was like, this is boring. Like, I just want to know what happens. Because then at the very end, you find out, like, oh my god, dude, the ending of this book, it's not even like shocking, like as a thriller. Like, the end's revealed and they're like, you find out how the girl died. Because the book mainly focuses on the mystery behind the girl's death rather than like the game of tag going crazy. But you find out like the true full story of the girl's death, and you're just like, really? Another cop-out? And so at this point, when I finished this and I read that ending and I was like, really? This is who killed her? Really? This is how her death happened? I'm just like, dude, I'm so sick of these damn thrillers. Also, yes, the review for this one was super short because I don't really have anything to say. If you're looking for a book that you just want to read fast, I say, I don't know. I personally didn't like it, so I'm not gonna suggest things that I don't like because I feel like that doesn't make sense. If you want to read it, let me know your perspective if you have read this or if you do want to read it, because I just need to talk to somebody about that one because I'm just like, dude, like, it felt... I'm not here to criticize. So I read all those books starting from Perfect Little Children to Tag You're Dead. Next book I read was +1. This book is about this girl named, I think it's pronounced Lahi, which I'm probably gonna mispronounce that one again. She is known at her school for being like a matchmaker where she sets up people and they date and go on dates. So her matchmaking is flawed in the sense that she kind of curates the person, shapes them to match with their crush. The book takes place over the span of a week because on Sunday she's having brunch with her family and her aunt and her cousin's 16th birthday is coming up, and she's giving invitations to like the whole family, and she has a rivalry, I guess, with Lahi, the main character. So when Lahi opens her card, she doesn't have a +1, and the cousin Summer is like, yeah, I didn't give you a +1 because you don't have a history with having boyfriends, so why would I give you one if, you know, like, I don't expect you to come with a date. It was kind of giving the love con where it's like, oh, you're gonna doubt my dating skills. But in this one, it was more so like, oh, I can find a date. Lahi's like, oh, I have a whole roster lined up for this birthday party. I'm gonna bring a +1. So the book, every day she is going on these quirky little dates. They're kind of cute. There wasn't really much anything to it because it's one of those, if this is her trope, siblings. It was her older sister's best friend ended up being the love interest, but you know that from the start because obviously, like, it's on the cover. You guys know when you read a romance book how it sets it up. So throughout the whole week, like, the best friend is like, oh, ha ha ha, like, you're so lame, Lahi, like, look at you trying to like juggle all these guys, because she's like trying to like go on a date with each of them to see which is the best from her roster for the party. So that's what the whole book is, like, her going on these dates, them obviously failing. It's just her little rivalry with like the cousin. But since it takes place on such like a short amount of time, the love between her and the love interest kind of falls flat since you're not really given that time to like really, not even like a month, but like you're not really giving enough time to like really imagine the both of them romantically. They fall in love there, they're happy, whatever. Get together, it's more so like, oh, okay, it's expected, but you didn't really give me like the, like, I couldn't fall in love with them because it was such a short time period. I think I said I rated that like 3 star, low-key 2. I was really harsh this month with my ratings because I'm standing on business. I know what I like and I know what I don't like. The main character, like the characters, they were like, I didn't care for them. They were like low-key whatever. The main character, I didn't really like her that much just because she's like in this rivalry with her cousin who's younger than her, and it's like, girl, like, you just got to be the bigger person. Like, you're honestly acting childish. So I didn't really care for that one, which is a little disappointing because this one I was, like I said, I was really looking forward to it. but it's okay because I had a bunch of other ones that I preferred. That was +1. The last 2 days, I had 2 days left of February. I was like, dude, we're gonna just read this one and see what happens. The Mary Shelley Club. I rated this one 4 stars. This one, I didn't know what I was expecting. Back page and this page didn't really I wasn't really grasping what it was trying to explain to me, so I didn't know what I was really reading. So it opens up with Rachel's perspective of her dealing with a home intruder. So that's the first, it's the prologue, so the first chapter. And throughout the story, she starts off as a new girl at a new school for rich kids. She meets this secret little club called the Mary Shelley Club, hint the title, in which it's a group of people from that school. It's 4 people. It's a really, really private club. They get together and they watch horror movies. They discuss all things horror, which I really liked. I liked the way they depicted horror movies because I related to the way they talked about them. It reminded me of Dead Meat, which I love Dead Meat. I love them so much. But it kind of reminded me of that with James A, Janice, and Chelsea, you know what I'm saying? The main kind of plot of the book is that all these members have to take a fear test, which basically a fear test is one member picks one target to scare. So they have to create this whole scenario and test to make their target scream. The point is they have to scream. So throughout the book, you're in the perspective of Rachel, but then you get the perspective of the targeted individuals when they are going through the fear test as a target, which was really cool. I didn't know they were gonna add that, but that was a really cool perspective to have. Since we know about Rachel's past with the home intruder that was wearing a specific mask, she's seeing the masks again and hearing about the mask, and she's getting scared, what's going on? Slowly the tests that they're doing, the fear tests, become a little too serious and people are getting actually harmed. The final reveal of everything, the conclusion, it was really good. I thought I wasn't gonna like it, but when you get to the ending part and everything goes down, I'm just no. I was sitting in my bed no. There's not really a flaw necessarily I would have, just because you kind of know what you're getting into. It's a young adult book. Don't take it too seriously. It was a cute read. I would definitely read this in the Halloween spooky month, but I couldn't wait. I read it now. I low-key liked all the characters. One of the characters is named Felicity, and in my mind, I was picturing, dude, now that I forgot her name. Ellie! I was picturing Ellie from Degrassi, so that kind of made the book more fun to read. Going through these fear tests, it was really cool seeing how they conducted them and then them being the aftermath and everything. That wraps up my February wrap up with all the books that I've read. Thank you guys for listening to my reviews, and let's get into the March TBR. I am back. It is a different day, but nonetheless, I'm gonna be doing the TBR portion of this video. Just for a spoiler, the first book I am reading this month is A Court of Silver Flames, because as I already told you guys, I'm gonna be reading that book, the ACOTAR series, once a month. It doesn't matter now because it's finished, but nonetheless. But with me today, I have 2 jars to pull from. This jar is going to be a TBR from my actual bookshelf collection, so books I already own. This jar, I did ask you guys, well, I asked some strangers on TikTok. I was hey, what is your favorite book of all time? And I have a jar full of all the answers. Let's start. Okay, also, I am gonna add extra books, but I don't know if I should make a jar for this one because then I'll have 3 jars to choose from. Basically, I'm gonna be pulling from these ones first, but I wanna have a jar dedicated to the TBR prompts that people all over TikTok or Instagram and YouTube use. When they pull from the jar, it's pick a book that is yellow, or pick a book that has an A in the title, stuff like that, you know, I wanna have a jar like that. I haven't made one yet, so we're gonna probably try to implement that in the next video. I do plan on having 6 books to choose from. So the prompts that I'm gonna implement monthly, So one is going to be my book of the month selection that I chose that month. My second book is gonna be like a book that I wanna read. Basically, like if I didn't pull it or if it's just something I wanted to read, I'm just gonna have it in that TBR. The third one is gonna be my strangers pick TBR. My fourth one is going to be one that's on my bookshelf already and I'm gonna pull from that jar. My fifth and sixth, I guess I'm just gonna leave those like if I finish these 4 first and then like do those ones second. But eventually, like I said, I do wanna have like a jar with like really cute, cool prompts. But that is in the works. First, I'm going to be pulling from my bookshelf. Why am I so scared? Like, I don't know, like, okay, let's do this one. It is How to Change Your Mind. I regret doing this now because I don't want to read that one. The next book is, okay, number 68. Okay, let's see what book 68 is. These are the ones I wrote down. Okay, I've heard about this book because it was a TikTok suggestion like that. But it is Punk 57. But the person that left that comment, they were like, I'm so sorry, but honestly, this is my favorite book. So now I'm scared. I'm like, should I be worried why that's your favorite book? I don't know. But so far, for the first 2 books we have this month, honestly, I might give up this whole idea because I don't want to read one of these books. I'm gonna challenge myself. So I'm gonna try to at least read it in case I don't get to it because I don't want to read it. So yes, I chose Heartless Hunter because first of all, the cover, but second of all, it's an enemies to lovers. And you guys know I love my enemies to lovers. And it is once again a witch in a witch hunter. Yes, I don't care what you guys say. Like that plot is going to devour each time. And then obviously we gotta finish A Court of Silver Flame. I don't own Punk 57, so book buying, we'd be buying a book. Okay, so I actually choose 2 books that I wanted to read. And if you guys watched my last vlog, then you would see me buying them. I am going to be reading 2 of the books that I just bought, and I am horrible at grammar, I'm so sorry. Powerless by Lauren Roberts. And the second book I chose was a little horror book, and it is Brother, which I talked more in depth about in my previous video. Guys, please go watch that one, please. It took me like forever to edit it. So these are the 5.5 books, because I still have to get Punk 57, books that I'm gonna be reading this month. Let's just look at all the beautiful covers once more. Oh, get back on here. Look how cute they are. But I hope you guys enjoyed my February wrap up and my March TBR. Next month, I am going to implement some more prompts to make it more fun. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I'm saying, this is a very new experience and journey with BookTube. So thank you guys for like sticking through me and watching me, even though to me, I feel like it's a little lackluster. But thank you guys, like just for seeing me grow and stuff. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.